Welcome to another episode of Wealth Beyond Numbers. I'm your host, Dennis Coral, founder of Coral Wealth Management, wealth advisor, and retirement planning expert. We have a great episode today, and before I introduce our guest, let me tell you a little bit about our intention of doing this podcast. In my 20 years of practice helping clients transition to retirement and many changes in their life, I noticed that there are areas and topics that is just as relevant as learning your investment performance, your reports on how far you are reaching to your objectives. One of them is your mindset towards money. And that may be often overlooked as we live lives, as we keep busy with our works and our families. But how you think about yourself, how you think about money can also have a big impact on your future results and success. So that's why I decided to invite a wonderful guest this morning, Patty Fuenzalida, who's a mindset coach and owner and founder of Coral Gables Hypnosis. So without any further ado, Patty, thank you for being here today.
Thanks, Dennis. It's always good to hang out with you.
No, thank you so much. I admire you a lot. We've known each other for over 10 years.
Yeah.
At least.
At least, yeah.
And you inspire me to start my practice. You know, I used to work for a large organization before I decided to come on my own and found Coral Wealth Management because we wanted to do something different. And you do something different in your practice. You help people with not just their mind, but also rewiring their brain about their beliefs of what they think about money. So let's start with that. So what is the main roadblock that you find in people when it comes to money mindset?
I think it's awareness.
Okay.
So obviously, like in the internet, there's a lot of talk about, manifesting and how do I create wealth without like necessarily having to go to work. And you and I understand that it doesn't really work like that. You got to put some effort into what you're doing. Being passionate is not necessary, but it definitely, it's like the icing on the cake. But when you put in the effort and when you have the passion for it, if your mindset, the way that you relate to money, to the abundance of money, to the lack of money, if that is not a healthy relationship, you're going to find obstacles that are going to come up on your way to whatever it is that you're trying to create, right? So I think there's some common themes, and we all have them, and it's just, driven a lot by how we're raised. Like we have limitations of, is there enough money to go around, right? Are people with money, do we think of them as being good people? Do we think of them as being bad people? And they're kind of philosophical questions, but at the end of the day, the way that you adopt them, the way that you were raised to adopt them, the way that you've found confirmation throughout your life of whether this is true or not, is going to affect your decisions. It's going to affect how much risk you take, how hard you work, do you believe in yourself? And all of these things really come together. So it's been really fun to work with people on money mindset because the results are super clear. Like you can see them because there's a metric, it's measurable.
Yeah, they're tangible.
Yeah.
Yeah, a few years ago, I was working with a client that was introduced through a mutual friend that we actually know about 3 years ago. And this was a successful lawyer that all her life, she was taught that she wasn't enough. Yeah. And she was now later in her life and didn't really save for retirement at all. Yeah. She built her house, she organized herself financially, but she still thought that she was going to work forever until she died. And that was one of the first things that she said when I met with her. She said, Dennis, I don't know why I'm meeting with you, but I think I'm going to work for the rest of my life. I think of retirement as a goal, but I don't know if that's possible. Fast forward 3 years later, she's going to retire at the end of the year.
Nice.
But she didn't think she thought she could.
Right.
So we took her from one step, and through you, I learned homework. She did some of the homeworks that I asked her to do, from budgeting or paying off her debt, which is something I always recommend, as you're getting close to retirement, pay off your home. And I'm really lucky and happy to see her retiring at the end of the year, but she started with her thought process.
Well, it started with awareness, right? You said that she didn't have the idea that it was even possible, right? So you brought the awareness into it of like, of course it's possible. It's just numbers on a sheet of paper that we need to execute on, right? So that's what I mean. It's coming up with like being willing to take a look at yourself of what are the belief systems that are driving my behaviors or my lack of behavior. Because if she has, or like many people have, this belief I'm not good enough, or like I'm not worthy of being wealthy, or I wasn't born into that kind of a family, or I'm not intelligent enough to create a business, those things are going to limit you. So it's all related.
Yeah. And it's interesting because as I was thinking about her, she came from a family of immigrants where they came from nothing. So she always saw her father work, and her mom, for the rest of their life, they never took a break. And even when they passed away, they were working even into their 80s. And now that she's in her 60s, she's finding herself following the path of her parents. Although she's a successful attorney, she makes good money, and she's done financially well. It was just shifting that in her brain and also coaching her, because it wasn't just the thought of it. It's also taking into action that you need to spend less, have a budget, stay to the budget, retire, but build your retirement savings, which are all things that I help her. Right. But it started with just idea of, yes, you can do it. And it's not just doing that, but also as I think of clients, we specialize in transitions, helping clients through transitions in their life. You know, you work for many years for a company or for your own business. Now you're selling your business or you're going to retire. And those transitions are big, you know, and the idea when you make transitions from full-time work to retirement, the goal is that you do it once, you know, because if you're doing it again, then that means something you felt along the process. Yeah. So we try to make sure that shift from work to retirement is seamless, but that you have a clear path of where you're going. And obviously there's financial impacts of how much money you've saved up until this point. What are your lifestyle choices that you want to do when you retire? What do you want to do, whether you're married? But sometimes people think that retirement is something that is far away or that they may never get there. And how do people can overcome some of their own self-limiting beliefs that they, you know, I may not, like you said earlier, but how can they actually take that thought into practice so that they can actually believe on themselves? Is there like...
Well, I think that if you find somebody, and this is like the rare piece, right? Because most people are just going on what they're used to. But if you find that rare person who is willing to take a look at themselves honestly, then the first thing to do is to examine what are the results that I've created in my life, and am I happy with them? The ones that I'm happy with, what was my mindset about? Like, did I believe in myself? Did I believe it was possible? And the results that I've created that I'm not happy with, like, what are the thoughts that affected me there? And I think that that's a really good place to start peeling back the layers of what are the thoughts that are driving all of these emotions and that are creating all of these behaviors and patterns and habits in my life. Because retirement is a habit. You don't retire because you wake up one day and you're like, I'm done tomorrow. Retirement is saying, okay, in the future, when I turn 55, I want to be done with work. So in that moment, you make a commitment to a habit. The habit of saving, the habit of maybe cutting down on expenses, of learning financial literacy in order to be able to invest properly, right? We are either successful or failures through our habits. And all of those habits are dependent on what we believe is possible. If you believe that you're going to lose weight easily, you're going to build a habit of going to the gym and eating healthy. If you believe, my genetics, forget it. Like, my mom's super chubby, my dad's super heavy, I'm never going to lose weight. Is that going to inspire behavior for you to go to the gym and eat healthy? No, because in one way you already gave up. You signed up for this other thought. It's the same thing with money. You know, if I believe that I am worthy of having the things that I want to have and I'm retiring at 55, then I need to be able to believe that so that I can execute. If I think I'm going to work till I'm dead, why would I put a plan in place?
You're right. And it's interesting because we help wealthy individuals and they may have big numbers, zeros in their bank account, but they still think that that's not enough.
Yeah.
They still think that that's not sufficient for them to live their lifestyle. So I'm glad you mentioned that. That's very, very, very interesting because I do come across that. And I'm not a mindset coach. So can you tell me about how does mindset coaching can benefit financial planning?
For sure. It's funny because people come to see me for all kinds of things, right? Like for building the confidence to start a business or to have a marriage or whatever, overcoming obstacles. But money is the undercurrent of everything. It really is. Like, as much as we might say, like, you know, money is not everything, it's not, but money is in everything. Right? Money is going to be a part of your marriage. Money is going to be a part of your business. Money is going to be a part of your health because it's going to differentiate between what kind of gym am I going to belong to? What kind of food am I eating? Right? So money, most people don't come to me specifically for money, but we always end up talking about the money mindset because when you ask people, why are you not doing this thing that you say you want to do? What are the top 2 excuses? Don't have time and I don't have money, right? Like, so why don't you do it? I don't have time, I don't have money. So time and money are 2 things that need to get handled no matter what the goal is, right? Because they're the undercurrent. They're the frameworks that we move in. So I work on money like in almost every case, unless we're doing like, stop biting your nails, which like, in that case, it's not really relevant, but I don't really do that work anymore. But when we're talking about really big changes, like the stuff that you like working on, the transitions, like money and time, they're at the core of everything.
Yeah, this was awesome. So this kind of concludes our first episode that I want to kind of talked about the industry trends that you're seeing now that we're living in a different world, but we'll leave that for our next episode. So, but this is great. Thank you so much for sharing all this knowledge. I can't wait to even dive into deeper. So thank you for tuning in to another episode of Wealth Beyond Numbers. I'm your host, Dennis Coral. And as we like to say at Coral Wealth Management, financial and retirement confidence starts here. Stay tuned to our next episode with Patty Fuenzalida, where we're going to talk about the new trends in the industry of money mindset and coaching. Thank you.